Welcome to Plan 9 Crunch. I'm Doug Gibson. You know, in the classic novel Babbitt, which came out in the 1920s, early 20s, George Babbitt and his wife Myra Babbitt are upper middle class people, and the novel is a fantastic tale of conformity, almost forced conformity, as Babbitt is forced to live a certain lifestyle to maintain a certain amount of prosperity, even though he has to pay homage to people far more wealthier and powerful than him. Now, this is actually about Bela Lugosi, this post, so I'm getting to that point. In the movie Babbitt, they talk about the movies they like. George Babbitt, being the red-blooded American man he was, he enjoyed movies that featured girls with pretty legs, Mack Sennett's bathing beauties, and Myra Babbitt enjoyed movies where men dressed very well and women dressed very well walked through drawing rooms. So they had their own particular taste in movies. Now, I'll get to the point. Bela Lugosi, you need to read Becoming Dracula Volume 1 and Volume 2 from Bear Manor Media. They talk about Lugosi's career before Dracula. Bela Lugosi was a big star. Well, he was a big star in Hungary, where they had sort of a routine where you could play a star one day, then you played a bit part and things like that. Well, Lugosi made the mistake, although you might admire his principles, of backing the wrong political leader after World War I. And he had to flee Hungary. He lived for a while in Vienna and also, I think, in Berlin, made some movies. But eventually he came to the United States. And he took a ship there, and there's a famous steamer trunk that you can still see, probably still around, that Lugosi took with him to America. Lugosi docked in Louisiana and made his way to New York. He was penniless, but he was not without a reputation on the stage and also in early silent films. He was able to get work at first primarily in Hungarian productions, and he eventually had success in early silent movies. He was a working actor. He was far from being a star at this time. But he made a movie in 1925 called Daughters Who Pay. And Lugosi is not the star of this movie. I'm going to show you some scenes from it. But he shows incredible screen presence in this movie. And the actor is still pretty young, in his early 40s in this movie, shows the talent and the screen presence that's going to become Count Dracula in other movies. Now, a little backstory about Daughters Who Pay. You can watch it on YouTube. It's a battered print with some deterioration. It may be the only print in existence. This film was lost for a while. Daughters Who Pay is a melodrama, the kind that Myra Babbitt would have liked, where beautifully dressed women follow beautifully dressed men through drawing rooms. It's both a moral tale, an action tale, an unbelievable tale. It gets wild at times. But it stars a long ago starlet named Margarita de la Motte. And you'll see her. She was a pretty big star in the silent era. And she plays a young lady whose brother is a loser. Okay, that's the easiest thing you can say. He's about to lose his job. He's embezzled money. And our heroine's name is Margaret Smith. And she visits Henry Foster, who owns the company where her brother, what's her brother's name again? Larry Smith. And she tries to beg help to save his reputation and save the family. And Henry Foster says, no, I suspect that he's been stealing for a long time, and there's nothing I can do about it. And so then a woman named Sonia Borisov, who was a Russian entertainer in the nightclubs, runs into Margaret Smith. And Sonia is so touched by Margaret Smith's pleading for her brother that Sonia also goes to visit Henry Foster. Now, we're in a soap opera here, so let me help you. Sonia Borisov is dating Henry Foster's young, rich, frankly useless son, and his name is Dick Foster. And so Sonia goes to Henry Foster and says, listen, I'll give up your son if you help this poor Margaret Smith's brother and save his future and make sure he doesn't go to jail for embezzling and everything. So Henry starts to think about that because Henry really doesn't want Sonia dating his son. Now you're wondering, when is Bela Lugosi going to get to this? Okay, we'll get to it now. Bela Lugosi plays Serge Romansky, and he leads a group of Russian spies, Russian Leninist type spies in New York City. And Sonia is a member of the spy ring. And Bela Lugosi doesn't really trust her. And he actually wants her for himself. Serge does, Bela Lugosi's character. I'm going to show about 5 minutes of the film where Sonia rejects Dick Foster in front of Bela Lugosi's Sergei Romansky, and then she gets pretty cool to Bela's character. And I want you to watch this, not so much for the melodrama, but to watch the screen presence Bela Lugosi has. He dominates the scenes he's in, even though he's a minor character in this film, Daughters Who Pay. Jack, could we show the first scene? That is Margarita de la Motte. That is Dick Foster she's talking to. Margarita de la Motte plays this with a great deal of emotion sometimes. A lot of the emotional acting in trying to convey what you're saying is she was expert at. She wasn't so great in the talkies though. Here comes Bela. Serge Romansky, claiming also to be one of the deposed Russian aristocracy with sinister and secret power, Bela Lugosi. Here comes Lugosi. You think Dracula, right? He's much younger in this movie. And he has the piercing eyes. This print is not very good, but let me tell you something. Bela Lugosi's character, I'm going to just let you watch for a minute. I like the disdainful look here. Get back to her. I can't say that I care for some of your American friends, my dear. Lugosi completely unperturbed by his romantic rivals being upset. Now remember, Lugosi's character runs a Russian spy ring. He wants to talk to her. He's telling her to get rid of him. These are the kind of scenes that Myra Babbitt would have liked. Look at the sinister look Lugosi can give. I like the arching of the eye right there and the smile. Lugosi would often in his films put himself, when you make your mark, he would put himself at an advantage of looking down at somebody. Or he was also tall for an actor at that time, like 6'2". Excellent shot of Lugosi. He's just willing her to do what he wants, although she does not like him. Okay, Jack, we can probably go away from it now. What I'm not showing right now is that Lugosi wanted to take her in his arms, because we're going to show a second scene where he tries to do that, and he gets a surprise. It's really a shame that we have so few Bela Lugosi films in the silent era. His films in Europe, there's only scattered fragments available right now. And you can see this movie. You also see a movie he's in called The Silent Command, and another one called The Midnight Girl, both on YouTube, which you can catch some of Lugosi's talents pre-Dracula. But I will once again urge you to get those books, Becoming Dracula 1 and Becoming Dracula 2. Also read Robert Kramer's biography of Bela Lugosi, particularly a new one coming out in August called The Man Behind the Cape, which talks a lot about his time in Hungary and also as a silent film actor. Gary Rhodes, who co-wrote the Becoming Dracula books, has also written a lot of stuff on Lugosi. And so this movie goes on where our heroine, Margarita de la Motte, I love that name, goes and breaks the heart of Dick Foster. And as a result, Margaret Smith's worthless brother, who embezzles, is also off the hook. And then we're going to go to another scene. And what I love about this scene is there's blood in it. And it sort of foreshadows, perhaps unintentionally, because at this time, nobody had the idea of Bela Lugosi being Count Dracula. But you'll see blood in a scene with Margarita de la Motte and Bela Lugosi's Serge Romansky. And it's kind of getting near the climax of the film, where she is with Lugosi with a bunch of other people also. I think at the beginning of this scene, you'll see her sort of give a brush off again to Dick Foster, and then you'll see her interact with Lugosi in a potential romantic scene. Jack, could we see it? Yeah, there's poor Dick Foster. Let me tell you something. Lugosi's character in this film has more testosterone in his pinky than Dick Foster or Margaret Smith's brother do in the entire film. So here's Sonia Borisov. As you can see, there is some deterioration in this film. This is mild deterioration. It gets a little bit worse at the end. But this film was lost for a long time. I like Lugosi's self-satisfied look here. There's a bunch of the spies. Once again, this is the type of scene that Mrs. Babbitt would have liked. I think George Babbitt would have liked to have seen the latest Max Sennett movie, probably. And truth be told, I'd probably prefer Max Sennett to this film, which was directed by George Terwilliger, I believe. Watch this. This is great. She is professing her love for Lugosi's character, and he leaves in disappointment. But she has something under her. See, he kisses her. This is an intense scene. I really like this scene. It's a highlight of the silent era. And she's carrying thorns in her mouth. Watch Lugosi bleed. He's deeply offended, and he's almost offended to the point where he'd like to kill her. Every rose has its thorn. That's a great line. Lugosi shows excellent outrage. Lugosi dominates the scene. Let's just face it. He's what you're looking at. He leaves in a huff and he gives a threat. And she shows absolute disgust for him. She calls him a rat. Lugosi has that thing where he goes really quickly to somebody. You see it in that scene. Okay, we can probably cut away now because now they're going to get raided, and they're going to have to escape. But he's very vicious in this movie. Okay, thanks, Jack. I'm not going to give away the end of this movie in case you want to watch it, but I will give away one surprise, which you may have already guessed right now, or maybe you didn't because you haven't had a chance to see it. But the twist in this movie is Margaret Smith and Sonia Borisov are the same person. Now, Smith is the brother of the louse who embezzles, but Smith is also Sonia Borisov, who is in love with Dick Foster. And she's a secret agent. I told you this movie gets crazy. She's investigating the Soviet spies. And so they're the same character. Margarita Del Motte, this is her movie. This is not Bela Lugosi's film. But she plays dual roles in it. It's an entertaining movie, Dollars Who Pay. It's a very early Lugosi film. It's something, if you're a Lugosi completist, you should definitely watch. I enjoyed this movie. I reviewed it on the Plan9Crunch.com blog. And I hope you'll take a chance to watch this movie and read the review. I loved it. We're going to do more Bela Lugosi films from the 20s and 30s on Plan 9 Crunch because we think it's worth exploring those films and talking about them. Once again, we're Plan 9 Crunch. You can subscribe to us at YouTube. You can follow or like at Plan 9 Crunch Podcast and Blog on Facebook. You can do the same. You can like on TikTok, and you can go to our blog, Plan9Crunch.com. Thank you very much. We hope you enjoyed this bit of Bela Lugosi, and that's a wrap.